First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good afternoon, folks. Lew, I believe you got caught in this beautiful shot that we have of what is this, northbound I-95?
This is actually southbound.
Okay, southbound.
So the southbound lane is awful. We've got, that's Old St. Augustine Road there, the world famous Jacksonville sign, but the northbound wasn't great either. So I'm showing you this because I was like 6 minutes late to work today. And this right here is my excuse. So I've got an excuse. This is why. The northbound side. Now, granted, the northbound's moving fine, but I show this jokingly on that part. But most importantly, while this is certainly somewhat weather related, gosh, impactful. You talk about, well, we're here to help you with life impacts, whether it's weather related, whether it's just life in general. That traffic is terrible. I mean, it's just almost to the point where I'd say, don't get on the interstate. It's southbound out of Duval into St. John's right now. You might want to give it a few hours. If you had to go, and it's going to be like that. I was looking at cameras all the way through South Florida, just thinking about people traveling today. It's terrible the whole way down. Like you basically, you're going to be going 20 miles an hour until you get to 207 in St. Johns County. So just...
And it's ironic because I live on the north side of Duval County, right? And driving into downtown, very similarly, it takes me typically about 18 minutes from door to door. I can get there in 18. Today it was like 25, 26.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
Which, is not terrible, but yeah, there was a slowdown from the airport down to downtown. So anywhere you go.
I feel worse for people who have no choice. There's just some people who have no choice. I've got to get on 95. I've got to go. And it just sucks because you're going to sit there and move at 20 miles an hour and hit the brakes through St. Johns County. And then you're going to get to Daytona, and it's going to do it again because the slowdowns happen in that Volusia County, the I-4 split. And then it's bad through South Florida. Tegan, you want to flip it over to the other? I want to see if you can, get us to that racetrack road one, just to kind of confirm, like 95 all the way through. And certainly, and that's moving a little bit better once you get beyond 9B, but still moving
a little slow. Yeah.
And that's going to be like that through the outlet mall exit to 207. Weather certainly, but
this makes you want to just stay at home for the holiday, right?
Right.
If you have a backyard pool, it would be a good time to use it, perhaps.
Amen.
Not get out onto the roads.
Couldn't agree more. Even if you can ride your bikes to the community pool, it's just today traffic's terrible. When we were talking about this being one of the busiest travel days of the year. All right, let's switch it up. Ross, lead the way. Let's talk weather because obviously weather is going to have a role in this. I got poured on the way in northbound, so we were hitting the brakes as we got close to Emerson, and that's not obviously there at this point now, an hour and 5 minutes later. But we've got some areas out there that we got to watch.
Yeah, I mean, torrential downpours, a very, very heavy rainfall coming in across downtown Jax earlier. And a lot of the storms now, although a few isolated ones still around the Jax Metro and even up towards the Brunswick area and Glenn County, most of the activity is a little bit further now to the south and southwest, down towards places like Racetrack Road, so St. John's, Clay, Putnam. And starting to move a little bit closer to the I-4 corridor. So we're still going to see plenty of storms here over the next couple of hours, but most of which are starting to drift off to the south of at least the I-10 corridor. I was trying to show you, could we see maybe a little swirl?
Maybe.
Somewhat. If you look kind of within the several layers of clouds, perhaps a little bit.
Off the Space Coast, like
yes.
Off of Canaveral. Some weather we're seeing, a little earlier, seeing a little bit of a swirl, but what I am seeing, there's a lot of convection. I mean, look at that uplift off of Canaveral. I don't, I'm not right now envious of the guys taking a cruise right now that are leaving out of Port Canaveral trying to get to, the Abacos or around the Bahamas and down towards some of the Caribbean, just because that's going to be brutal. But yeah, a lot of convection. You got to so in order to get a depression or a tropical storm forming, you got to have thunderstorms popping over some warm water. And that's what that is. And then we've got the other dynamics in place as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that cluster of thunderstorms starts gathering a little steam and a little juice and creates are very likely, seeming more and more likely from the Hurricane Center that we get that depression by late Friday into Saturday. All right, so Ross showing us our radar here where some of the strongest storms are. So the 95 trip through northern St. Johns County now into downtown, which was bad an hour ago, is getting better, but southern St. Johns County down south of those outlet mall exits and really
down toward Hastings, big storm there.
Hastings has had a couple of days, man. We've had a couple of weeks where we're just seeing storms pound Hastings and Piccolata and all those areas and kind of that central and southern St. Johns County west of 95. And then look at Highway 301. It's one of those things, as local news in Jacksonville forecasters, we mention Highway 301 a lot. And maybe you're new to the area, you don't know what we're talking about. So we use a few boundaries. We use the ocean. We use 95, sometimes Highway 1, but 95 generally because they run parallel. St. Johns River, Highway 17 is another one that runs parallel to the river, and then 301. And that's kind of 301 sort of that unofficial boundary that we consider the split between our eastern area and our western area. And so now you can see on the map, if you were curious, what do they mean? What's Highway 301? Well, it's the highway running right through the west side of Duval, down through Stark.
Takes you down to Gator Country.
Go to Gator Country. You need to get to Hogtown. You take 301. You want to go down to Horse Country and see all the beautiful Kentucky Derby ponies in Ocala. You can take it all the way down. So 301 is a major highway, but that's kind of what we're saying. And just absolutely pouring just north of Stark right now.
And I did see the National Weather Service said south of Keystone Heights. Now, this was maybe about 30 minutes ago. Pretty strong downburst in some of those storms right along 301. So, again, this is south of Keystone Heights in Alachua County. Wind gusts upwards of about 40 to 45 miles per hour. A lot of lightning in that storm, too. So they have the potential for that. I did mention at this very time yesterday, Lou, that maybe a slightly better chance for some severe storms today than yesterday. Thankfully, that has not been the case. Perhaps packing a little bit more of a punch.
Yes.
So when we saw a lot more lightning, heavier rain, a few stronger wind gusts, but not to the point of severe criteria, which is good news for everyone.
And interesting with yesterday, it was, we had storms and you were out in the Protector, 5, 6, and then as we got to 7, we saw storms, but then everything kind of started overspreading over the interstate, and it really started pouring, causing accidents, causing collisions out there as we get another live look out on 95. Towards what would be an intersection, right where that overpass with Racetrack Road, as you see 9B, sort of off in the distance in that Durban neighborhood. But the powerful storms, nonetheless, a little more punch, maybe a little less for everyone, but that St. Johns County, so 210 area getting a good downpour right now. Not seeing a lot of lightning, so if you were thinking about the pool in northwestern St. Johns County, had the lightning a little earlier, probably heard a few rumbles of thunder. Give that another 20 minutes, let that storm get a little further south, and you're going to be good to go around 210 and Racetrack and along 13. Collision.
Yeah, on the northern extent of the sea breeze and some outflow boundaries up across our coastal southeast Georgia County. So I mentioned the Glenn County and Brunswick area now starting to move into central Camden right there along 95. So this is pretty much the only decent thunderstorm there in southeast Georgia. But
did you say indecent? Like indecent?
No, like
a crime. Decent.
Decent.
I thought you were saying maybe it was exposed. We've got an exposed thunderstorm. I didn't know if that was a term. The old indecent. Thunderstorm.
Those are the worst.
Those are the worst.
Those are the worst.
Get arrested. This is just anecdotal and a side story. I'm looking at St. Simon's right now, and man, a month ago we were talking about they were getting hit all the time. We're getting, ponding on Frederica, and we're getting the golf courses out there just getting pounded with rain. We're getting trees falling. And it's been a solid month. Look at how that rain. I had a friend who's like, listen, the golf course needs rain. What are we doing? I'm like, man, you got a force field up right now. Like St. Simon's just can't catch it because Brunswick had the rain right up 95. You remember yesterday where you were, just 20 miles, 25 miles away as the crow flies in Kingsland and Woodbine, right on the edges. I haven't looked at official totals or even the radar product showing us estimates, but it rained a lot just west of 95 in Camden County. And
when those storms didn't move very much yesterday,
exactly.
They pretty much just rode right along along the boundary, and that was it.
Slow movers dumping a lot of rain, and so some areas, like St. Simons, we keep calling for rain every day. We've had these weather impact alert days, and a good portion of Duval and St. John's, Nassau seeing rain. Baker County's getting the rain. It's just, I know it's frustrating, and it's another day where it's truly just over the causeway.
And maybe by Saturday and Sunday, some of those more coastal areas there might see some some offshore showers move onshore, some coastal rain perhaps.
Yes, I think you're right. And the barrier that kind of pops, what happens, it takes the sea breeze. And generally speaking, the sea breeze has got to get a few miles inland. You got to get a little further west of the beach to really start something popping. And depending on steering currents, and now today's are more south to north, it just doesn't seem likely for. But you're right. As we get the onshore winds, the wraparound of what could potentially develop. Here's our tropical update from the Hurricane Center. Now that X showing the low potentially developing right over, and we have seen modeling of this. A low kind of starting out over Peninsula Florida. That changes nothing. As far as impacts. It's just we're seeing where computer modeling is going to finally initialize and zero in on where what they need to be tracking and what they specifically need to be looking for. Changes nothing.
And it's so interesting how they've continued to extend it further and further to the northeast.
Yeah.
Each time that there has been some level of an update to, the highlighted area, it's just continued to up towards the Outer Banks and continuing right along the Gulf Stream there. So.
For sure. And so that will be interesting as we get into Saturday, and would provide some east-northeasterly winds, pretty gusty, and that could help our friends in St. Simons out and a lot of the beaches. So our 4th of July forecast, you'll notice earlier in the week we did have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in our weather impact alert. And, in full transparency, we will make the decision to pull back on these weather impact alerts depending on how things change. And things do change with modeling and our thoughts. And so when we were doing this earlier in the week, we're thinking, okay, maybe this low develops a little bit earlier, and we have to think about some rain for fireworks time, but we're pulling back on that. Now, we will see storms. We will have some showers and thunderstorms. I like what Ross has put here. Noon to 4 is a great time to watch. I know that is.
And that's really for, the metro and the Jacksonville area.
Yeah. And, this is a big beach day. It's a big get on the bikes, ride up and down Jack's Beach, big cookout day, big pool day. I just don't think we're canceling plans because of it. I think we're maybe having the ponchos packed, and we're also very aware of lightning and ability to bounce into one of the fine establishments around Jacksonville Beach to catch some shade and maybe some hydration. But as far as fireworks go, it still consistently seems like we're going to be doing okay. All right, so Ross has our Futurecast modeling. What are we seeing?
Yeah, so it looks like that northeast breeze, you kind of talked about it a little bit, Lou. It's going to help to push that sea breeze in perhaps a little bit earlier in the day. So that's why we're thinking noon to 4 o'clock at the latest for more of our coastal areas. So whether you're at the beach or on 95 in the Jacksonville area, to see that chance for some thunderstorms. But pretty stiff northeast breeze moves all those storms off to the west and southwest pretty quickly. So, by the time we get to 4, 5, 6 o'clock at the latest, I'm really anticipating the vast majority of any lingering thunderstorm activity well off to our southwest, out towards I-75 and even the Gulf Coast. So if you have plans to perhaps head out to Lake City or Gainesville or even further south down towards, or south on 75, I think you have a better chance to see some thunderstorms and perhaps not as good of an opportunity to witness fireworks. But here on the East Coast, much better chances because you'll take note here, 7, 8, 9 o'clock then, maybe just 1 or 2 isolated showers trying to swing onshore. But generally speaking, a pretty dry night. It will be warm and humid, but Lou, I do think it'll be also a little breezy.
Yeah.
Perhaps more so than some past 4th of Julys here.
Yep.
Especially out at the beaches.
I concur. Good fireworks forecast for you there, improving. We'll watch those breezy conditions. We'll hold on to our hats, and that's just going to continue to freshen as we get into Saturday too. For the whole weekend. So Saturday, we are going to highlight as our weather impact alert day because of the heightened rain chances. So 70% is our threshold, letting you just know kind of when we decide to do this. When we see 70% of us that will get some rain through the day, that's one step in the process. We had an added kind of feature, though, with for Saturday, because of how a consistent day-long northeast wind, 25 gusting to 30, perhaps even at some of our beaches, even higher as you get up the coast into Georgia. the rip current risk is pretty legit. So I'd say only the strongest swimmers need to be messing with the ocean. It's probably going to be one of those days at the beach anyway. You're not really like vibing with getting in some of those waves. It could be pretty rough out there, but we'll definitely want to be rip current aware and stay safe in the water certainly, but also swim near a lifeguard if you've got to, and follow their advice. Depending on what flags they're putting up, follow their lead, because they certainly are the experts when it comes to that. So there's Saturday. There's your waves. There's your low. Very clear. We've got that counterclockwise spin.
Almost due east.
Yep. And so the orientation is it gets tighter to our coast Saturday evening, or I say our coast, the United States coast. So I'm talking Georgia coast, Carolina coast. The pressure gradient is going to tighten, and for Savannah, for Hilton Head, for Beaufort, for Charleston, for Myrtle Beach, you're going to have some pretty good breezes there. But you noticed on Sunday the winds move back offshore, so from land to the ocean, so back offshore. That is a pretty good note, helping out with any potential coastal flooding. Excessive rain risk. So this is an update that I'm just kind of getting my eyeballs on, but it jives with everything we're talking about, right? So excessive rain risk is a product from the Weather Prediction Center, and this is when flash flooding the flash flooding rains would be forecast, and there's the marginal risk. So that's the 1 out of 4 that we see for that, and really highlighting Southeast Georgia. But I wouldn't be surprised, coastal Florida, especially Fernandina and parts of Duval, we could have those waves of rain pretty consistent off and on through the day.
And you were talking about the winds. I was trying. I was like, I know I have the winds for Friday the whole way through the weekend. So I was trying to get through all those graphics there, to match up with what you were talking about.
Modeling is saying. See if it jibes.
Well, so most of tomorrow, northeast breeze.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most of us, anywhere from about 10 to 15, gusts upwards of perhaps 20 out at the beaches. A little stronger overnight then as you get into Saturday. Some pretty stronger winds offshore as that low starts to wrap up a little bit. So, based off of this modeling, you're getting close to that, 40 mile per hour mark out there.
This model would suggest that's a tropical storm. In my opinion, this model, the winds may be a bit aggressive, but depending on if it fully closes off and we start getting those 40 mile an hour readings. Yeah, Chantal is our sea storm.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Chantal, I believe. Chantal.
I'm
going to go check the pronunciation guide when we get off.
We should probably check on that before we start saying it.
Yeah. Got to get.
Because I think I've already said it a couple times, and I've said it multiple ways.
Yeah.
Chantal.
Well, look, the Hurricane Center is cool. They have a pronunciation guide right there for guys like us.
Because we need it.
We definitely do, all of us. I'd say by the time that center that's just right there on the right of your screen is a beam of Brunswick and Savannah. You might have some tropical storm force winds right around there. And again, doesn't change our impacts, okay? We're still looking at the northeast winds, gusts of 25 to 30.
And that's why we have the heightened rip current risk and stuff, right?
Bingo. That's why we're watching it.
And then when you go from Saturday into Sunday, that low starts to move away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Take note the big wind direction change there as you head into the end of the weekend. Much more out of the west and northwest. Not going to be nearly as breezy.
Mm-hmm.
And you broke it down, very nicely yesterday, Lew, about the sinking, drier air behind these systems more often than not.
Yeah.
And so, tomorrow and Saturday, temperature's going to be in the upper 80s. By Sunday, I think I was trying to stay pretty conservative. I have us just at 90.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if we up that a little bit by,
We might. Yeah. 90's going to be high. It's going to be just
very humid.
Wind, yeah. That west wind, sinking air, it's going to be an uncomfortable day. But I do like the west wind on Sunday, so we're not talking about, 72 hours of northeast winds that would cause problems in our marshes and our waterways. You get the west wind, it helps flush out the river, it helps the tide cycles do their thing, but it also would be hot. So, I still seeing the rain chance for Sunday. We'll keep that on, not quite weather impact alert level. And interesting, I was just sending out an email, again, inside the business, a little ITB. We're talking, you sent out an email to the whole place, and because really I know what you like doing in these streams, what you did with Tim for a long time, and I love talking about this too. Is we get focused on the here and now, and we get focused on the big thing that's going on, but we got to talk about what's next.
Oh yeah,
what's the next big
big weather maker is what Tim and I would always call it.
What is so I kind of try to include what is the next big thing, and we get done with this low, and of course we will obviously continue to monitor the tropics, though I don't see much out there at the moment that we have to worry about behind this system. Continue to watch
because did you look at the global tropical hazards outlook?
No, not yet.
I think they put it out for 1 to 2 weeks out, and then 3 to 4 weeks, right?
Yep.
And pretty quiet through the month of July. So hopefully, fingers crossed that continues. But
stay that way.
A good sign, yeah.
Yeah, and but the next big thing is looking at the week, dropping rain chances a bit Monday, Tuesday. But we're getting back into the heat and the humidity. It's July.
Yes.
There's no relief coming behind, this tropical system is going to usher in. It's not like one of those September, October storms that we've had in the past where you get a couple of days after and you're like, oh my God, what a glorious relief. No, it's just going to move out, and we're going to be hot and humid through the week, and we're going to have those afternoon chance of showers and thunderstorms again. It's back.
And for someone who grew up north of the Mason-Dixon, Lou, seeing lows in the mid-70s and highs in the mid-90s.
What's that like?
Absolutely hate it. Not looking forward to it at all. I ran this morning. Wasn't a dry stitch on me.
No.
You could have guessed I just jumped out of the pool.
The lows and we get caught up in the highs, but it's when you walk out first thing in the morning and you're already hot. Mm-hmm. And that's
near constant sweating.
Constant. Yeah.
NCS, is that a term? You love your acronyms.
NCS, near constant sweating. All right, let's put it on the wall. An NCS alert. New term. Ross, I appreciate it. We've had a busy week, and it continues through the weekend. We're going to be staffed up and watching what develops Saturday. I'll be, in fact, Speta and I are going to be here Saturday morning together, kind of watching.
The double whammy, the duo.
Truly a whammy of information you're going to get from Big Game Bob and I. So we'll be hanging out, but we'll be continuing our weather shows and letting you know what the next big thing is as we get there. Ross, you the man.
Take care.